Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, I screwed up. There's really no other way to put it. For whatever odd reason, I thought, that Natalia, the woman that played Emily Quartermain, was coming back under a different character. I was wrong. I don't know where I got that information from. I don't know if I dreamed that. I have no idea, but I was wrong. It was Kim Delaney, who I've never really heard of, ever. But somehow, I feel like she's familiar. I feel like she's been in a show that I've watched before, and the name just isn't coming to me. But with that being said, I was wrong, and I apologize for just putting out something that was not true. With that being said, there's one other thing that I feel like I need to address. And I know I said this yesterday, because this was about Amy. And I feel like I'm going to actually have to explain this again, because this is about Brit. And this is really just about sneaking in jabs when it comes towards sexism. Because I feel like people don't understand that sexism actually works both ways. Okay? Whenever you sit there and say little things like mansplaining... I'm sorry, okay. Let me reiterate. I'm going to start cursing for a little bit because I feel like I can't talk about this without getting really, really angry. So, with that being said, for the people that don't like the swearing a lot, you should probably just turn it off right now. I won't be swearing throughout the rest of the video, but now I will. The shit isn't cute, okay? It's not funny, it's not cute, it's not edgy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's not that. It is degrading, and it makes me angry. Okay, just because somebody explains something to you, that doesn't mean you get to assign a gender and say mansplaining. I don't know on what planet that this shit was actually cute at. I've heard Trina say this before too, and that just irritates the living life out of me. Okay, I don't know what writer is saying this, but I feel like they definitely need to be reprimanded because what you're doing is you're basically sitting there saying that you don't want an environment where you don't want it to be toxic, you don't want it to be sexist and stuff like that. But it's okay to be sexist when it comes towards men. It's okay to sit there and sneak in little jabs here and there because it's a man, and it really shouldn't sit there and bother anyone because this is a woman, this is a show that's mostly dedicated to women, so it's okay that we can just jab and pick at men whenever we see fit. It's not okay. It is fucking wrong, and I really wish that this show and other shows like it would just stop. Because here's the thing: if you are a person that's against sexism, you should be a person against sexism across the whole board. Not just picking and choosing when you feel it's convenient for you. No, that's not how it works. Wow. I feel better. 1 second. I feel better. Now, let's get into the episode. Well, Amy had to talk with Brooklyn. She went to this whole long speech about the whole time that she got caught lying with the ass manlander thing, and she was just like, I'm not doing it. And Brooklyn was like, okay, I understand. And then an hour later, she's like, I'm doing it. So, that really just didn't go anywhere. And the reason why I'm sitting there saying that is because she really was like, oh, you know, way back when I did this whole story about Ass Manlander, and I lied, and it was wrong, and if I had a choice again, I would go back, and I wouldn't do it. Oh, Amy, good for you. I'm proud of you. Yes. Yes, character development. Awesome. An hour later, alright, I'm doing it. What the? Are you... Okay. You know what? The less said about that scene, the better. Also, there's some scenes with Monica talking to Brooklyn about coming back home, and she practically was just like, no, because independence and all this other stuff. I.e., she's not going to forgive him. Well, she's not going to forgive him so fast. I'm not going to lie, I kind of felt like Monica's presence was pointless. And speaking of a very pointless presence, Sasha was there. And I felt like her presence was pointless either. I don't understand. I don't know if this is a show that just has too many characters or whatever it is. But I felt like it was pointless. Sasha was sitting there talking to Valentine about how she was... Well, first she got into a whole... She got angry at him. And then Valentine was like, you're not mad at me. You're mad at Mike. You're mad at how you handled the whole thing with Michael. Long story short, it really didn't go anywhere except for to sit there and tell people that she's still heartbroken. So she's still heartbroken. I just saved everyone a good 5-minute talk between her and Valentine. Because all Valentine said was just throw yourself into work. Awesome. I'm sorry, it's just, it was literally an hour show, and if you cut out so many scenes, so many unnecessary scenes, you realize that, well, it didn't really, like, some of that stuff just didn't need to go there. It didn't need to be there. And, let's talk about another scene that happened that I'm just, like, questioning. This is where you got Jackie, and Robert. So you talk a little bit, and then Jackie punches Robert. Anna plays interference. They get to talking. They know a little about each other. But other than that, it really didn't go anywhere. It really didn't go anywhere. And I wish I could sit there and say it went somewhere, but it really didn't. Anyway... Well, we find out that Jackie, whatever her first name is that I can't remember, is the mother of Chase, and is a stepmother of Finn. And man, Finn really does not like Jackie. And they get into it for a little bit. You know, apparently Finn took his mother's name, and she was like, oh, well, that really hurt, you know, your father. And listen, hurt is deep, and I'm not going to sit there and try to act like Finn. I know a lot of people can sit there and look at the situation and be like, listen, Finn, it was a long time ago, you need to cut some slack. You need to let bygones be bygones. You need to stop punishing her for something that she really... There's something that she did in the past. And I'm not going to sit there and say she did have control. It's a very murky waters. But I can understand a lot of people could be like, Finn, you need to sit there and kind of just like move past this. But sometimes with people, and I'm not going to sit there... Sometimes with people... hurt runs deep, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or you're a woman. I know some people can be like, oh, well, you can man up or whatever. No, I'm trying to say it in a way where it makes sense, but my point is that the hurt is deep with Finn, and I can understand that. You know, he felt like, listen, you know, his father remarried too soon, and she just kind of just jumped in a very sore spot that, you know, his mother died and she jumped in and she's the bad guy, whatever. Like, I get it, you know. I'm not going to really kind of like dig too much into it because I don't really know all the details, but I can just sit there and say the hurt is deep, and I can understand that. Finn asked Chase to be the best man. And he agreed, even though he looked at that text. And from Sasha, because Sasha was, I don't know, somehow she overheard that Willow is adopting Wiley to make it official. And so, you know, Chase was sitting there talking to his mother. And his mother was asking, like, hey, you know, where's your girlfriend at? And Chase really, he still didn't explain to his parents what happened. And, you know, Finn ran interference and made up some sort of BS excuse to why she wasn't there. And when Finn was sitting there talking to Chase, Chase was like, listen, I can't, like, this is too far gone. You know, it's the same, I'm not gonna lie, it's really dumb. But pretty much Chase is like, listen, she's went past the point of no return. And if I sit there and tell her this now, it's only gonna cause more hurt and pain. And Finn is like, listen, give her the opportunity to let her think for herself instead of you just making the decision for her. But, it didn't really go anywhere. It kind of went on deaf ears, and yeah, nothing really got solved from that. Chase is still committed to just keeping the lie going. And speaking of another kind of useless scene, let's talk about Michael and Willow. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of came out cheesy. But my point is that their whole scene went nowhere. So Willow brought up the idea of divorce because she was like, listen, when we first got together, it was to protect Wiley. Now he's dead. And we are in this murky waters of boundaries and will they, won't they, and like, you know, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And to be honest, I felt like for the good hour that I actually sat there and listened to him, it went absolutely nowhere. They're not going to get divorced. And, you know, nothing's going to get decided today. Which is great because, I mean, there's a reason for it, and it has a lot to do with the fact that Mike's funeral is tomorrow. And they don't want to sit there and decide on... I think Willow wants to be there for Michael, and Michael needs Willow to be there for him to get him through this grief that's going to be going on moving forward after Mike's funeral. Yeah, so honestly, to tell you the truth, nothing really happened, and not gonna lie, it was kind of pointless. I mean, please, listen. If it wasn't pointless, and it's just me, write down in the comment section of what you thought was so significant about them being on screen today. Because I just really could not understand what was the point. Also, let's see. You got Anna and Valentine strategizing the best way to handle her sister. And Valentine tells her something that happened off screen about another guy that tried to track down Alex, and she set a trap. So pretty much Valentine was like, listen, she's gonna try to kill you. So we need to figure out how we're gonna go about this whole, you know, trying to deal with Alex's situation. And Anna was like, listen, we need to sit there and try to figure out a way to bring her to Port Charles. And go from there. Because if she's as dangerous as she, you know, is to, I guess, like Valentine bringing like a middleman to try to track down Alex, and she nearly killed that middleman. So she's out for blood. And they're just trying to work on trying to bring her back to Port Charles. That's it. Yeah, that was really it. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I was just like, why don't we get... Honestly, and I have so much... I'm having problems with these strategy meetings and talking about the best way to sit there and get to Alex and this, that, and third. It's like, how about we just get to Alex and we just figure it out? Because there's talks left and right and stuff like that, and, you know, the best... It's like, can something happen? Because up until this point, it's been very, like, not boring, but pointless of them talking about Alex. Just figure out a way to bring her in, and then when she gets closer, then we start talking about it. Other than that, I feel like it's just pointless. I'm going to be really honest with you. And I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I had a hard time doing the review on GH, and I realized it's because nothing really happened. And nothing really happened too much today. Which is another reason why, because I was sitting there thinking in my head, I was like, I did the days really well. I mean, as well as I guess I could do it. And I didn't feel like I had that much of a problem. And I was like, well, why am I having so much issues with General Hospital? And I realized it's because not a lot is happening. But we'll talk more about... It's like a lot of characters, but nothing's happening in the show. That's what I really feel like. Let's talk about Jason and Britt. Jason is there to try to dig up some information on Britt and just find out why she's working for Cyrus. So it's this back and forth between Britt and Epiphany, and Epiphany's sitting there telling Jason about like how the nurses, like everyone's getting these demerits and nurses are crying, and Britt is just pretty much just raining hell on everyone. And then Jason talks to Britt, and at first, Britt is like, you can get any nurse or sit to any doctor or whatever to check you out, and Epiphany was like, well, she's a, she delivers babies. She doesn't really, whatever. But here's my issue. Of course, Britt was the one that was doing the whole mansplaining thing or whatever, and she was acting on her whole high horse and everything like that. And Jason was like, so why don't you check me out unless it's beneath you? And so they get to talking or whatever, and I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the very few times it got really interesting. So Jason was like, listen, you aren't all bad, Spencer likes you, this, that, and the third, but you want to get away from doing your father's work because it was, it was some bad stuff. But yet you're working with Cyrus because... And Britt is like, so, you've been getting out of these dangerous situations left and right. And yet you're still continuing to ride without a helmet. Why? And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, Jason. She makes a very good point. And that is that I think that was probably like the highlight of this episode. But then, Jason told Epiphany, like, listen, just kind of lay low, because she may be the key to taking down Cyrus. And that's pretty much where it leaves off at. And the last thing that I will sit there and say is because, man, this review is kind of longer than I thought it was going to go. One second. So I'm not going to lie, the reason why I was actually kind of sipping on that last drink is because, well, I was actually too lazy to go in the kitchen to get another one, so, anyway, the last thing I want to sit there and talk about is the Ned and Olivia stuff. So, Olivia is pretty much like, well, first Ned, we're back to that whole, Ned is accusing Olivia of cheating, and I'm just like, bro, really? Like, are you serious? So after they talk or whatever, and it kind of calms down, and, Olivia's like, listen, you know me. Like, where's this coming from? And of course, she kind of, has a bit of guilt, because she's like, listen, your family is just, your family has a history of cheating on each other. So of course, you would sit there and jump to that conclusion. And I'm like, Olivia, please don't give him an out. Don't do that. Don't give him an out. One, because it was just kind of a jackass thing to say, and two, well, if you knew what we knew. Yeah. So anyway, Olivia's not there, confessing that, she's kind of screwed up a lot, and she's going on this whole guilt trip, and Ned is like, no, you have nothing to be sorry for, and I'm just like, you damn right, she has nothing to be sorry for. So this is the part where you're going to step up as a man and just kind of like, confess your sins and just kind of be like, confess your sins, pretty much. But of course he doesn't do that. He's just like, so can this just be a fork in the road? I was like, bro, seriously? Really? So anyway, long story short, he does not confess his sins. He does not sit there and tell Olivia that he cheated on her with, I was actually going to say Nancy. That is her real name, but with Alexis. And yeah, so he pretty much just like, you know, he wants to work on their marriage and stuff like that, and committed to being, you know, working on it to move forward or whatever. And so we're gonna watch that, and I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I'm not gonna sit there and try to condemn him too much on a cheating thing, because everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have cheated before, so this isn't the first time. It's just a simple fact that we're gonna be sitting there watching him, and the whole time he's just a damn hypocrite. So, yeah. I don't know. One last thing that I will sit there and say, and this is actually the end of this review. Let me just take this big go. One last thing that I will sit there and say is that tomorrow is going to be the funeral of Mike. And, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to watch it. I really don't want to watch it. I know it's going to be sad. And I don't have the strength to actually sit there and watch it. I do have the strength to sit there and watch it. I just don't want to put myself in that position to watch it. So I'm just not going to watch it. I will, most likely I'm not going to be doing a review on it. Let's put it this way. Let me backtrack for a minute. If it's just going to be the Mike stuff, then I'm just not going to watch it. I know a lot of times they will sit there and show like a funeral or a wedding, and then they'll show like the main story. So, if there's going to be like a story with other stuff besides Mike, then I will watch it. But if it's just going to be the Mike funeral, then I won't watch it. And stuff will resume back on Friday. So I guess we'll just wait and see, since I'm actually off tomorrow. Yeah. So anyway, let me know what you think of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What's your thoughts on it? And what's your thoughts of seeing more Amy? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not looking forward to that at all. I was going to say a sarcastic joke, but I really don't have one. I just don't like Amy. She is annoying. She's annoying, and she is annoying. And I'm just not looking forward to watching her. And plus the whole backsliding thing. Within an hour. And I know it's not an hour for soap opera time, but like within 15 minutes, she literally just backtracked everything that she just said. She went on this whole practically Captain America speech and was just like, I'm not going to do it. So I do it. But yeah, let me know what you think of this episode, and are you looking, and what do you think of tomorrow's episode if you saw the previews? Have a good day or good night, depending on when you're watching this. Be safe, and thank you for listening to me ramble.